So, the movie that a lot of people around the world have been looking forward to, especially after Batman v Superman, to see if Warner Brothers and DC can get their shit together to make a really great film, has finally come out, Suicide Squad. A squad of villains put together to take on an even bigger baddie to save the world with a little bit of redemption thrown in. Now, this will be my review of it, and I'll give my thoughts on the review, everything else without spoiling it, and after my rating, I'll go into a few spoiler territory just to give more perspective on what I think. So, let's start it off. Suicide Squad. Now, this movie, after Batman v Superman, had a lot of eyes on it. A lot of people were digging the trailer, thought it was going to be amazing, but the critics have come back and a lot of them just straight down panned it. But, as the geek that I am, I'm going to dive into this movie and tell you what I think about it. Now, this movie starts off amazingly. I love the introduction to the characters and how it's done. It's almost kind of music video, MTV's, but back when MTV was a little bit more edgier type montages. It's really cool. I really dig it. And it sets up a lot of the characters very well. One thing I was worried about going into this was Will Smith. I'm a big fan of his back growing up, watching his movies. Very entertaining. But lately, he's been on a string of, let's say it, bad movies, and he ain't doing so good acting-wise. Let alone, he doesn't really do risque out there. It's more family-friendly or close to that type movies. Man, did he blow me away as Deadshot. Amazing portrayal of him. I love the character, the depth that he gave to the character. I love his interaction with Harley Quinn and the other members of the squad, especially him and Flag, the little back and forth banter they have, and it kind of blossoms. I don't want to give it away, but they kind of connect in a way. It's really good the way he portrayed it, and I love the interaction with his daughter. And yes, the Batman does make an appearance, and Deadshot has a little toe-to-toe with him. Not going to go into details about that, don't want to ruin it for you, but I really dug what he did with that character. No, I think her name is Margaret Robbie, whatever, who plays Harley Quinn. She nailed Harley Quinn, down to the little quirks of her personality, and little this and that, and the traits of her. She got her down pat. Now, I did love her and the Joker's interaction. It was really cool. And in the comics and other portrayals, it's pretty obvious that it's a one-sided and abusive relationship. But in this one, they showed that Joker cared about her and loved her in his own fucked up, weird, obsessive, crazy way. But I did like the way they did that. It was a really nice little thing. Boomerang, he was funny. He had his moments. I dug it. Katana, one of my favorite characters. I like the way they portrayed her, but they needed to give her a lot more and focus more on her character. She is really glossed over, but I like the way they portrayed her and handled her. So I'll give them that. And Amanda Waller, I think is her name, the evil, conniving, crazy cunt from the Suicide Squad comics. The one who puts this team together. Boy, will you end up hating her. And not in a bad way, like, oh, I hate her performance or acting. You'll hate her because the performance and acting is so good of a vicious, evil type person and entity. Now, these are the things I like. Wait, before I forget, Diablo. Man, that dude blew it away from me. Some people don't like him, this and that. They don't like his character arc. They say it's too fast-paced and they don't give him enough time. I think it worked well for me, and I really dug what they did later on, which when I get to the end of this, I'll go into spoilers and I'll give you some about him that I really liked. But I really dug him, and the special effects on Killer Croc was really good. The story, the beginning half of the story of this movie is really good. It really gets you in deep. It starts to get you like excited and amped up. But then, about 2/3 into the movie, it starts to fall apart. And you can see it. There's some plot holes, the scripts, the writings, but the actors really save it. Them as a group, the cohesion and the way that they interact with one another is just amazing. I really dug it. I dug what they did with it. It was awesome. And Flag, I really dug Flag and his kind of, I don't want to give it away, but he kind of has like a relationship in the movie. I dug what he did and his interactions with the squad as a whole. But, like I said, like the plot kind of falls apart a little bit. There are plot holes in it. I had a lot of fun with this movie and enjoyed it a lot, but there are problems with the plot. I have to give that to the critics. Also, the editing is choppy as fuck. Come to find out, they took away the editing rights from the director himself, who did his own edit, which I really want to see that. But they gave it to a basically music video editing company that's never done a movie in their goddamn life, barely do music videos at that, and you can tell sometimes in mid-sentence it will cut and go to a scene that doesn't correlate at all and doesn't mash up whatsoever, and it will jar you in the movie. I was like, what the fuck? A few times. It drew me out a little bit. So that is a criticism, and it's no fault of the actors or the director, it's because Warner Brothers gave it to somebody else to edit, an outside source who doesn't know how to edit a fucking movie. And the villain kind of falls apart for me by the end. The beginning half of the villain, I'm not going to give away who it is, this and that, is really good. And I was digging them and their relationship to somebody else. But then by the 2/3 mark, it just falls apart. And there's a lot of jokes of her just kind of wiggling around like a squid and trying to be all seductive in a way. And like, there's a moment in the first half that is straight out of a horror movie, and it's really cool and it really works, and there's other really good parts. It's just by the end of the movie it kind of falls apart, and it also suffers from the syndrome like Avengers Age of Ultron and the original Avengers and other comic book movies, where it's like we have a mass horde of look-alike creatures that it doesn't hold any weight to, and it doesn't have any stakes to it, and you just feel like, eh. Then I wish they would have shown a little bit more of what each individual as a person can do. Not so many gunfights, but show each person's fighting prowess and skills and powers. And they do, but I wish I would have gone into more of that. With the Joker, I cannot say whether I like him or not. There are some parts of his performance I really dug and really liked, and there are some that I just could not stand whatsoever. But he wasn't in the movie enough to get a good bearing. There are scenes in the trailers that they completely cut out of the Joker in this. And he's only like in, I would say, 2, 3, maybe 4 quick scenes. And I can't really get a scope of it. So far, Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson are still my favorite live-action Jokers, with Mark Hamill being the best to me, hands down, but he only does animation. But, you know, I want to see him in a full-length movie and get a real scope of what he can do as that character. I really like this movie, but because of the performance issues that this movie has, it's hard for me to give it a rating. I want to give it a 7, maybe even a 7.5 out of the enjoyment factor and the fun I had, but at the same time, like I said, there are glaring issues with the editing, the plot by the end, the villain, and the script. And it's not the director's fault or any of the actors. I love them as a cohesive unit. And like I said, the way they interact with each other, they really pulled off these characters and pulled it off as a group together. I want them in an even better movie where they can really, really shine. So because of those problems, I want to give it like a 6. So I gotta come more like halfway in the middle and be like 6.8, 6.9. I really want to give it a 7, a 7.5, but you know, I can't just gloss over the fact that there are some issues with this movie. But you should go out, you should watch it. 90% of you out there will enjoy this movie. It is fun, it is awesome, and if you don't, I completely understand. But it's definitely go check it out, man. Go see it for a matinee. Now, time for the spoiler territory. I really dug Diablo in this movie. They set him up as this reluctant guy. He doesn't want to use his powers. He's basically a pacifist, even though he was a villain at some point. And through the movie, you're starting to get hints and pieces at what's happened, and he's just festering and stewing, and they're all kind of picking on him and messing with him for not helping. But then you find out, like, holy shit, man, he accidentally killed his wife and kids. Like, the dude's fucked up from it. And yeah, he's a villain, but even the other villains are like, damn, dude, you killed your own wife and kids? And of course, he didn't mean to, but it's fucked with him. And he thinks he has the power of the devil in him, and it's just like, you know, like he said, the worse shit I did, the more powerful I became. So he's really reluctant, doesn't want to use the powers, doesn't want to be involved. But when he sees the stakes of the world, you know, the world at stakes, and the people he's coming to care about, man, he finally opens up at the end on the mini-boss. Well, he ain't mini, he's a huge, big motherfucker. But, you know, mini as in the boss before the boss. Dude, he turns into this, like, Aztec, Mayan, demon, fire god type thing and starts kicking ass. And, man, I loved it. That was straight out of a comic. Oh, that was awesome. So I really dug his character. And I love, like, they gave us this scene, like, if anybody's ever seen that, you know, magnificent cover that's worldwide known by a lot of, you know, comic geeks and fans of Harley Quinn and the Joker, of her in her original outfit and the Joker all dressed up and they're holding each other. And it's a very, like, realistic painting type cover. Oh, they actually did a little homage to that. Just, it looked amazing, man. It was just brought to life, and I really dug that. Boomerang, yes, they show Batman and Flash in this, and they don't overuse them whatsoever. They use them just the right amount. It didn't turn it into their movies. They didn't steal the show. It was just how they caught these criminals in it, and they had to show their backstory and how they interacted with these people. Like Deadshot wanting to kill Batman. Batman comes in, tries to stop him while he has his kid, and is like, dude, I don't want to do this in front of your kid. Just give up. And Deadshot actually gets the drop on Batman, has him ready to shoot, but his daughter steps in and is like, no, Dad. Then Batman arrests him, he goes to prison, and then the Flash stops the boomerang, which is cool. Ezra Miller didn't even get to say a line. They just showed up, used his powers. I'm still iffy on his outfit. But that's not what this review's about, so I'm gonna just gloss over that. So that was really cool, and I really dug that. I don't know if I like how they changed up Harley Quinn's backstory to the point where they throw her in the vat of chemicals. I don't know how I feel about that at this moment. But I really dug her relationship with the Joker and the way that she interacted with the team. And and the reason why I don't like the vat of chemicals idea is because she is not completely insane like the Joker. She's just madly in love. And throwing her in the ace chemicals and making her completely crazy is kind of counterproductive to her character. Because even like they show in this movie, like, she gets hypnotized or has, like, you know, a brainwash where she's seen her and the Joker as normal people with a family, and that's her true wish and dream. But if she would really want that, then how can you say... And I think Harley Quinn really does want that. But if she thinks that, she couldn't, because now she's like batshit crazy like the Joker and would never truly want something like that and couldn't even hold that thought long enough. So I don't like that they threw her in the ace chemical vat. She's a very smart, intelligent, out there woman, but that's because she is madly in love with the Joker. So it kind of changes up aspects of her character, which I don't know if I'm okay with at this point. But I loved Margot Robbie playing her. I thought she was amazing and did a wonderful job bringing this character to life. Now, the Enchantress. I love the Enchantress from the comics, and I thought they handled her kind of well. I wish I would have given her more in the beginning. Like that one scene where she just puts her hand on the table and the Enchantress' hand comes out from the table. It's like straight up a horror movie. It's really cool and dark. And like halfway through the movie, man, they got her doing weird shit. I don't know, man. It fell apart for me. And the tentacles, and she's just standing there like Apocalypse from the X-Men movie, just doing, yeah, I don't know. They kind of screwed the pooch on that one a bit. And I think it could be with the editing. I think they had better shots or better scenes they could have used, but that editing team came in and used the worst shit they probably found that they thought just looked cool. So, hands up in the air about that one. But overall, I really dug this movie, man. I think you guys should go check it out. This is it for G.G.TALK's review, Gaming and Geek Talk review of the Suicide Squad. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. What's your favorite scenes from the movie? Mine happens to be Diablo kicking major ass. That and when Deadshot's just tearing up all this zombiotic army of fucking evildoers. That was awesome as fuck. So, you guys have a good one.